we have two shlokas today for the discussion. And the first one itself is, as rightly said by one sadhaka, loaded. Time has come for concluding the agreements in Sankhya Yoga by Lord. Acharya has also spoken about it. Gurudeva has given to the reference to the Acharya. And as a concluding final stroke, now the Lord is telling the 29th mantra, which has a repetition of a word Ascharya. So, in short, if we little twist the Anvaya of the shloka, it would be Ascharyavat Pashyati, Ascharyavat Vadati, Ascharyavat Shrunoti Enam. This three quarter is a separate part, and Shrutvami Enam Na Vedam Kaschit is the last part. Very subtly, Gurudev rightfully separated these two parts, and that is why he has given two meanings of this shloka. One meaning which has got more of a negative connotation is, even if he hears, even if he listens, even if he sees, he finds it Ascharyavat. Now we have three words in Sanskrit called Adbhuta, Vismaya, Ascharya. English is not that potent a language. And it's not out of utter pride about Sanskrit, but to really understand why and how these three words are organized and how then they are adopted or co-opted in philosophical treatises. Adbhuta, something that hasn't happened earlier. Ad means atyeti, bhuta, past, that which has not been engulfed by the past or eaten by the past. That means that which hasn't happened earlier. Adbhuta. Then why Adbhuta is not Ascharyam? When a small child is playing, you bring a new toy to him. The toy is known to the entire world, but not to the child. So when it is shown, he finds it Adbhuta. Not seen, heard, seen happening earlier. Adbhuta. But the fact that it is known to others, it is known to the common people. Few exclusive children do not know about it. Rest entire world knows about it. Adbhuta. Vismaya, V or smaya. Smaya is smile. V is before. Something that happens before we smile. What does that mean, Vismaya? It is a state or happening which, when happens, gives a sense of bewilderment and then creates a kind of a recognition and you smile at it. I'll give you an example, and a beautiful example of Yoga Shastra itself. Vismayo Bhumika is one of the words used in Yoga Shastra. Vismayo Bhumika. Anandam we know. We have bits and pieces of Ananda life, Sukha. Sukha we are aware of. Eating gives us Sukha. Watching something gives us Sukha. So we are aware of that Sukha, maybe in a very, very, very inferior quality Sukha, but it is a microscopic, minuscule Anandam we have already experienced. In the yoga, when you achieve higher and higher status, the same Anandam comes back to us in 1,000-fold multiplication. And then that Anandam, in the beginning, when it appears in front of us, because I have not seen such a gradation of Anandam, it gives me a little bit of bewilderment. My smile goes away, and then I smile because I know, oh, this is the Anandam that I was taking so far in minuscule, now in multitudes. Vismay. Ascharyam is the last stage. The word has comes, the Vigraha is like Charya. We know Dinacharya. Charya, charati. Chara is the word. Char means whenever the indriyas go, it is called chara. Charayati, charayati, iti manushyaha. What is manushya? The one who keeps on going here and there. Charayati. In Hindi we say गाय चरती है. चरती है means चारा नहीं खाती है. She walks, and what she eats while walking is called chara. Chara, chara, achara, chara, achara. The one who moves, who doesn't move. Chara, achara. Achara means something that hasn't moved, or something where the indriyas have never been, or something that where the indriyas cannot go. That if it comes in front, then ashcharyam happens. Achara, ashcharyavat. And this is not ashcharyavat, this is ashcharya itself. Ashcharyavat is similar to ashcharya. No. Ashcharya. It is absolute wondrous ecstasy. Wondrous ecstasy is the word closest Gurudev has brought from English. Wondrous ecstasy. It is an ecstasy. If you say only ecstasy, then you take drugs, you get ecstasy. No. Wondrous ecstasy. That means you are aware of the ecstasy that is happening with full awareness. Unaware ecstasy is a different thing. Wondrous ecstasy. So that is why Ashcharvat Pashyati. This shloka can never be understood if not read with the Kathopanishad commentary of Gurudeva. Shravanaaya api bahubhiryo na labhyaha shrunvanto api bahavo na vidyuho ascharyo vakta kushalasya labdha ascharyo jnata kushala anushtaha anushishtaha. Ascharyo vakta. Only the one who has transcended the sense organs is only qualified to become Vakta, the Vach, the Sadguru. And Kushalasya Labdha, one who is skilled in obtaining the knowledge, the Shishya, Adhikari. That is why Gurudeva says, infinite, all-knowing and all-blissful is the nature of yours. But what you are thinking of yourself as a Jiva Upadhi is finite, ignorant and miserable. So how finite, ignorant and miserable can comprehend infinite, all-knowing and all-blissful? That's why he uses an analogy of light and darkness. Precisely the analogy used in Kathopanishad. Chaya atapo. Sunlight and the shadow. Sunlight and darkness can never exist together. In the similar manner, our own thinking as a Jiva Upadhi, as finite, ignorant and miserable, cannot comprehend infinite, all-knowing and all-blissful. Then what is the solution? The solution is a step-by-step approach to shade the finiteness, to shade the ignorance, and to come out of the misery. Coming out of the misery is a logical outcome of the sadhana. Ignorance will slowly start dwindling away, and the finite will slowly start expanding towards infinity. And the process of this itself is called sadhana. As a Sufi calls it, salik. Unfortunately, it is a text we give here, but salik means sadhak. The one who has taken the path towards hak. Hak is satya, hakikat. Salik is one who walks towards hakikat. Sadhak is one who walks towards infinity. And walk means what? Walk away from you? Gurudev says no. Self being your essential nature, we are never far from it. That means it is there 24/7, 365 and not 224, 37, 65 because time is also not there. It is omnipresent, omniscient. It is right inside. Is ghat antar baag bagiche, isi mein palanhara. Is ghat andar anhad baje, isi mein uthat guhara. The Omkar is coming constantly from inside, the Anahatanad. We are not able to listen it. रसमंद अंदर बाजता बाहर सुने तो क्या हुआ सुनता नहीं दिल की खबर अनहद का बाजा बाजता शोर ढंडोरे पीट के it is not going to come. That is what Kabir Maharaj says. Gorakshanath says the same thing. इस घट में गंगा राम, इस घट में जमुना राम, इस घट में तीर्थ पावन हारा राम, इस घट में कुंजी राम, इस घट में ताला राम, इस घट में खोलन हारा राम. Man awakened to the self glory is God. God forgotten his glory is deluded man. What a beautiful statement. When a mortal through the technique of self-perfection comes to the technique of self-perfection, then he is struck with wondrous ecstasy. देखा अपने आप को तो ये दिल दीवाना हो गया. देखा अपने आप को. The self within me is now being realized by me. A Sufi says beautifully, I read so much of knowledge, it was of no use. Why? When I saw myself, what happened? वो अजब घड़ी थी जिस घड़ी लिया दर्स नुस्खा ये इश्क का कि किताब अकल की ताक पर जो धरी थी वो धरी रही. All the books were lost. इल्म बस कर यार एक नुक्ता तेरे दरकार. Enough of the knowledge of the books. Now is the time for realizing it. What use is that wood which cannot be turned into a fire? What use of the knowledge is that which is only useful for spreading the words which are futile words, unless they are realized within us. That is why Swamiji has used the body in a different manner. He has used the word, the same is the thrilled hush of lived joy in the temple of experience. Shariram is nothing else but temple of experience of thrilled hush of that joy when the self, all alone with the self, comes to live with the self. When the self, all alone with the self, ekameva dvitiya, comes to live with the self, self residing for the self in the self. If it is very difficult to understand, the best way to understand is Gurudev. If anyone asks us, can you define Gurudev? Who was he? The stupids will call him Balakrishna Menon. The wise would call him, he was nothing else but a place where the self came to reside within the self for the self. And that is why Gurudeva says construction can be also interpreted. Now he's giving the second interpretation. He says, except for a few rare. Now look at this word, rare few. First of all, rare. And amongst rare, few. Manushyanam sahastreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Kaschit. Rare. Yatati siddhaye. Few rare do the attempt. No success. Attempt. Yatati siddhaye. And Mam Vetti, how many of them we know? Kaschid. Few amongst those rare, they know me, Arjuna. It's not an easy thing. Then two important concepts Gurudeva has given in a very subtle manner, which we are likely to slip away. Of them, except for a rare few who others become mum when they try to express the finite words. See, other become mum when they try to express. Become mum when they try to express means what? A person who has realized the self, when he wants to express, what is keeping him mum? When Atma Darshanam happens, the changes in the body are of such a type, then the Vani, Vak, the Paravani is exposed to him. And when the Vani goes into the Muladhara Chakram and becomes Ganesha itself, it is not able to express more than Para. So for the Paravani to come outward from a realized soul and reach up to the Pashyanti or Madhyama itself is very difficult. So a Paravani of a Jivan Mukta taking the shape of expressed words or Vaikhari is one of the rarest thing to happen. That is why most of the realized souls, 99% of them do not speak. Why? Because it is so difficult to come down from that state which they have reached, where Paravani has lost the desire. Even the divine desire to express is a very rare. Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say, I need a little bit of tobacco in my mouth to come down to my body sense. Now, if you don't have a body sense, how will you speak? It's called Vaikhari Maryada. That is what Gurudev is hinting. But a rare few talk and find in themselves not only the capacity to express in their own language of symbolism all about their new discovery, but they bring this infinite wisdom within the limited intellectual comprehension of deluded men of their generation. Masters such as Buddha, Christ, Zoroaster, and Mahavira. Rare are those who tend to listen to the God. Few amongst those rare dare to reach the God. Again, few amongst them are able to speak. And those who amongst them are able to speak, they bring down the infinite wisdom in the maximum possible simplest language, which is so difficult to comprehend for us. That is what Upanishad is all about. So it is not an easy thing to understand this Atma Tattvam at the same time without reading Kathopanishada. If at all there is a doubt, and that too does come. For every sadhaka, there is a melancholy that comes. It is called spiritual melancholy. You suddenly feel lost. You suddenly feel lost while doing the sadhana. You feel hopeless and helpless. How long? Kab hoga? What will happen to me? I am so much filled with so many bad things. I am trying, but nothing is happening. I want to be like Gurudeva, but it's not happening. So this kind of depressive, spiritual depression, as we call it, it's very common. And the depth and the gravity of this depression depends upon the level of sadhana. As we move forward, it is more pronounced at times. And in such places, it is the Guru's words who come like a support and a light to us. If at all anybody goes through this, and I can definitely vouch from my personal experience that whenever such times have come, it is this commentary of first adhyaya, second section, 7th shloka, or Kathopanishada, which is today related. Sravanaya api bahubhiriyo na labhyaha. This commentary gives that support for anybody who is kind of depressed in the spiritual progress. Because Gurudeva has made some startling statements in this, which paucity of time, maybe we'll try to see something. He says that the eternal law provides each one of us with the circumstances in life and an occasion to enjoy or suffer strictly according to and in continuation of our past. Nothing happens in fits and starts. There are no accidents. Moment to moment, life is progressive, continual, and logical. There is strict mathematics about it all. As such, it is not the lot of everyone to hear the greater and immanent truth that pervades and penetrates. Births after births, if you have thought about something good, then that sattva guna slowly comes, and that is how today we are at least listening to this. Do not underestimate mere listening, even though we are not comprehending. even though we are not understanding the name of the Lord on the tongue is not an accident, but human efforts of yester births. बहुत सुकृतांची जोडी म्हणून विठ्ठली आवडी. Jnanadev Maharaj says, बहुत सुकृतांची जोडी. Millions of birth I have done sukruta. That is why Hari, the word comes on my mouth. It is not that easily Ajamil got immediately the emancipation just by saying the word of Lord on the mouth last time when he was about to die. So the study, being a part of the study group, even Gurudeva has given example in this particular commentary itself. One should really read it. He says, you all have come to this sadhu's class. That itself is not an accident. And that is why he says, the liking or the listening is not because of anything else, but because of your satkarma earlier. And that is why he says, be optimistic. And if you cannot, each of one of you may take it from Chinmaya. Now he is giving it. These are his words. Be optimistic. If you cannot, each of you may take it from Chinmaya. And then he says, these are Gurudeva's golden words. Thou art a fit adhikari, and with a little self-effort, thou shalt reach in this very birth the supreme success and the godly achievement. Never hesitate, never doubt, but sincerely strive and achieve. Remember, behind each one of you, there stands a million who can, at their best, grace only the lower rungs of the ladder of evolution. That indicates one thing, that as Gurudeva says here, that the self is right in you, you require a little bit of self-effort. Ju tilma hi tel hai, ju chakmak mein aag, tera sai tujhme hai, jaag sake to jaag. मोको कहारे ढूंढे मेरे भाई, मैं तो तेरे पास में. Kabir Maharaj says the same thing. And that is why even to listen to such masters and divine expositions, very few gather. And the wonders of the wonders is that even after hearing, the unprepared and the uninitiated cannot understand and comprehend the truth. That is why those who listen well, first condition is listen well, are encouraged to reflect. If you do not listen well, do not reflect, because you cannot reflect. Shravanam. Reflect on what they have heard and to meditate until you realize. And then Gurudeva has given a slight definition of Shravana. Repeated attempts at listening. It's not one-time listening. Sometimes I know and I'm sure every one of us feel that every time they talk about self-atman, self-atman. Every Upanishad you go, same theme is repeated. Every Bhagavad Gita shlok, because the undercurrent is same, because the truth is only one. Eko ham sat vipra bahuda vadanti. The speaker has an ability to change the whole thing, but the topic is very same, very, very simple. Tattvamasi, khalas. Apart from Mahavakyas, there is nothing anywhere. Jivo brahmena aparaha. Sarvam khalvidam brahmasi. That's fine. The same, those 4 words for thousands of shlokas, millions of shlokas have been written on it, because we have to repetitively listen. Keep listening, keep listening, keep listening. This is called satatam. Abhi-asha. Abhyas word has come from abhi-asha. Abhi-asha is to sit near. Keep sitting near, keep sitting near, keep sitting near, keep sitting near. One day, the one who is sitting near you will be you. Na mantranam jamita asti. Kathopanishad says, na mantranam jamita asti. What it means is, the mantras are never tired of repeating the same thing. So if mantras are not tired of repeating the same thing, why should you be tired of listening repetitively the same thing? If you want to know what is the power of repetition or repetitive learning and listening, take an example. Call a person and tell him you are mad. He will laugh at it. Then you say you are mad. Then he will laugh at it. You say it 10 times, he will be annoyed. You again say 10 times. After about 50 times, 51st times, he gets a small streak of thought in his mind that, am I really mad? What happened? We all always complain about ourselves. I was actually a very good person. I had a lot of capacity and competence. But since my childhood, nobody recognized it. Everybody told me, you cannot do anything, you cannot do anything. And that is how I lost my confidence. Why? By listening, you lost the confidence if you had it? What it means is something that is imbibed through continuous force of listening ultimately compels you to think, mananam, and changes you. If this is true for all the bad habits, was it not that we swore with our friends that I will never touch alcohol? It is such a bitter thing called beer and whiskey, which is such a yuck thing and all that. Then what happened? How did you start drinking? You kept drinking. The bitterness went away and the joy started coming. What happened, sir? It is the repetition that made abhyasa. No one understands engineering when you're sitting for studying. How is that the 12th standard boy suddenly becomes an engineer at the end of the 4th year? By repetitively listening and reflecting upon what is learned. The only choice, because that is the process of learning. The process of learning is to do the same thing repetitively. Again Bhagavad Gita, again Parayanam, again the same. I completed all that 18 adhyayas once, now I am done. Never. When you are done, when you are not even aware that there is Bhagavad Gita existing, then you are done. Till then, you keep doing it. Life is a learning experience lifelong, something like this we say. What is learning experience lifelong? You keep learning. Why? Repetitively. The ability to be a student. Panchavidyarthi Lakshanam. You have to be a student. A shishya it is called. What is shishya? Anushishyati iti shishyaha. Anushishyati. Whatever the Lord is telling, the Gurudev is telling, the Sadguru is telling, you, Jivan Mukta is telling, all we need to do is repetitively ponder upon it till the time we realize that it has become Sahajavastha. Have you ever tried to take breath, tried to practice breathing every day? No. Why? It has become Sahajavastha. You don't even know that you are breathing. If you reach that state, then you did not practice breathing. Pranayama, you practice pranayama. Till what level? Till pranayama becomes the nature. Your every breath is a pranayama. That happens. To a yogi, it becomes a natural thing. Don't get angry. Don't get angry. Don't get angry. Till when? Till not becoming angry becomes the Sahajavastha. In the similar manner, Gurudev says, Shravanam, repeated attempts of listening, continuous reflection. Gurudev is, you can't take Gurudev in one stroke. You need to really put your efforts into it, because otherwise we will slip. Continuous reflection, not only reflection, morning reflection, afternoon gali galoch, no, that doesn't work. Continuous reflection means every incident happening in daily life. I just got angry. Why? What happened? I had decided not to become angry. What made me angry? Why the anger came? From where it came? Reflection. And on a continuous basis, my happiness was disturbed in the evening. Why? What made it disturb? No, then nothing happened, but I was just feeling low. Why do I feel low? What is the reason? Continuous reflection. And once we realize that, I had this reflection gives me an idea that why am I so sad? Why am I angry? Why am I? When I get the answers for that, then I realize that I have been getting subjected to the Vishayas through my Indriya. So now I should not be getting into it. The remedial part of it is Nididhyasana. Shravanam is the knowledge to know that something is a poison. Mananam is an act of seeing the poison and coming to the conclusion that this poison is not good. And this is a nectar, Amruta, this is good. This is the job of Mananam. Nididhyasanam is an act of then continuously basking in the glory of nectar and never to look towards the poison. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And to know the Shravanam, a drunkard can never come to know what is a non-drink state. So Shravanam brings you from a drunken state to the normal state. Mananam takes you from normal state to supernormal state or super conscious state. And Nididhyasanam makes you stay in the super conscious state, the state of bliss. And that is why this mantra cannot be, should not be read unless we have read the commentary of Gurudeva on this particular mantra, which is in the Kathopanishada. It is here in this mantra, Kathopanishada, Swamiji has spoken. Swamiji also, while speaking, better to best, his avasthas also are in different, avasthas are there. With great difficulty, he is to come to the grassroots, to the land, to us, to speak to Vaikhari. But sometimes he used to lose this contact and again move up. This is the commentary of this mantra. You can clearly see that he has moved up. That is why the words are penetrating, words are so prolific, full of meaning. And that is why he has even gone to the extent of saying that so great is Upanishada that Vyasa Maharaj must have learned from Upanishada itself to write Bhagavatam. Such a big granth as Bhagavatam, Gurudeva says, Vyasa Maharaj took inspiration from Kathopanishada, and that he says in this mantra, that important this mantra is. Let's all realize the importance of what Gurudeva is trying to say. Reading, hearing, listening, fine, but it has to literally go pour inside. And that is why we require sharp, penetrating intelligence, which can only come by pure heart. Hari Om.
Hari Om.